Riddle me this, riddle me that. Are we in a matrix? Is the world rigged? Social media rules the whole world, baby, you dig? The Alpough Show is in the know. The human spirit experiment will help you grow. The show starts now. Welcome to my show. The Alpough Show. The human spirit experiment. To make your experience better in life. That cool? I want to welcome you, everyone who's coming in now, everyone who's coming in later, and to let you know what's going on here today. If you don't know it, we have begun the year of the tiger. Are you going to be a tiger this year? Or are you going to be a mouse? I'm picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl because this is the year of the tiger. This is the year for us. We're going to make it. But it's your decision on where you want to go in this new world design that we live in. This is so exciting. Today, I have a very special friend of mine who I have been associated with, Het-Heru. She lives in Las Vegas, and her website it's called Het-Heru, but this is her symbol here, and I really love it. I want you to see that. And she is a yoga specialist, and she's also the creator of some incredible essential oils that we're going to talk about here. And so I want to let you know that what we want to do is I'm bringing her here with her vast experience to make your experience better. That's what we're here about, bringing in people who are incredible. And this lady is incredible. And I just got to say, this is how she makes me feel. Hello, Het-Heru.
Hi, Michael.
You got me dancing. It's I
see. I like that. That was cool. I like that because, people take yoga so seriously. So it's nice to see this lighter side here.
Yes, even though yoga is so hard, which it is, because yesterday in my P90X, one of the programs is the hardest positions. 30 minutes of, well, I want to call it, I don't say hell. It's heaven as soon as I finish, though. I'm not kidding you. I'm in heaven when I finish it. So, yeah. Hey, Het-Heru, how you do?
It's all good in the hood, Michael.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad we have you in here today with your vast experience. We're talking about chakras. Chakras, like Chakra Khan, chakras. And you are a yoga specialist. We're going to go over a little bit of your history, but just for anybody who wants to know, I'm just going to bring up a quick. The chakras in Indian thought, each of the centers of spiritual power in the human body, usually considered to be 7 in number, but the expert I just said, she says we have 42 of them, so we're already learning something already.
That's right.
In Sanskrit, the word chakra means disc or wheel and refers to the energy centers in your body. These wheels or disc of spinning energy each correspond to certain nerve bundles and major organs. And so let's just get into it. Tell me the purpose of chakras. Okay. And why should people, get them balanced?
Well, because you'll feel much better and life will make a lot more sense, especially this time in which we're living, this difficult, crazy time in which we're living. Those of us who have studied any of the esoteric sciences have learned that the planet itself is moving toward becoming a sacred planet. So all this scary, crazy, whatever is happening It's happening for a reason, and we have chosen to be a part of it. Now, our ancestors from thousands of years ago, and most people associate yoga with India, but it does go farther back into ancient Egypt, have learned that there are certain tools. They have given us certain tools that we can use to help make our life better. And part of it is balancing the chakra centers. And also with the chakras, even though they are part of the physical body, it is the communication uh, vehicle that allows the spiritual realm to communicate with the physical or earthly realm.
How does what's the is chakras actually a spiritual thing or is it a physical thing that is in the body?
Well, it's remember we're talking esoteric sciences,
Okay.
so it's spiritual. However, as I was sharing with you before, as a teacher once taught, something should not be so um, heavenly minded that it's no earthly good. We are having an earthly experience. The spirit is expressing and experiencing through the earthly or human, as you said, the human experience. So, yes, we must ground that energy. We don't want to leave it like I used to when I first started doing this, leave it up in the lofty realm. We want to bring it down. And life on this earthly planet will reflect what's going on with the chakras. So if you have, let's say, the base chakra that's not in balance, it'll reflect often in the way of poor elimination or some of the other challenges that we can have in that base chakra, which is where we're sitting. And so therefore, when the physical shows us what's going on, that chakra is off balance, then we do what's necessary to do in order to bring balance to that.
Now, I wanted to give an intro to chakra so people will know exactly what we're talking about. But
Okay.
I would like to take a moment here and really give a beginning on how you really got started. I think your history is very important and incredible in how you got here. So if you could just give a little bit of beginning on it, and then
Okay.
how you got to your essential oils and your yoga instructor.
All right. My pleasure. I started, yoga was presented to me when I was 19, and that was in 1969. I was, I became a very serious student. I would practice at least 2 hours a day. And at one point, it began to have such a profound effect on me that my chakras began to open. You're doing 2 hours of classic yoga, not some of what people are doing today, but classic yoga. My yoga teacher, Indra Devi, was the first lady of yoga. And so my approach was in the classic way. So many of the postures are designed, in fact, all the postures are designed to help. In those years, Michael, we were practicing more of what we say was the Piscean approach to our spiritual practice, including the way we did yoga. Now we're moving toward an Aquarian age approach. So in those years, the emphasis was on opening the chakra. Now it is on balancing the chakra. So I'm doing these 2 hours of postures. I am meditating, which made a big effect. My intuitive abilities began to open more and more. I'm a clairaudient ever since I was a child. I can hear from the other side, I can hear other people's thoughts. However, as I became more and more of a serious student, all these abilities, these intuitive abilities, began to sharpen. And so, the more I worked with these and worked with the asanas and worked with the breathing, the more intuitive I got, and the more my life began to reflect that. In 1974, I moved from Indianapolis, Indiana, to Los Angeles and opened up the Harriman Studio of Yoga in West Los Angeles. It was from 1974 until 1989. I was very proud of that experience. I had two or 300 students that came to me every week. In 77, I pioneered a yoga teachers training program. All along, I'm still getting guidance from my teacher, Indra Devi, who eventually moved to Argentina. And so she would direct people to me. The more I worked, the more, again, my intuitive abilities sharpened. Um, and what happened was that I began to channel more and more information so that teaching yoga asanas wasn't enough anymore. I was getting other information. In Hatha Yoga, which is the most popular approach to yoga, there are actually 8 steps. So when somebody says to you, "Oh, I do yoga," generally they're saying, "I do yoga postures." Well, there are actually 8 steps, and a student, a serious student of yoga, of Hatha Yoga, is going to practice all 8 steps, which includes meditation, which includes the 10 codes of morality, which includes deep breathing, et cetera, et cetera. And the last 4 steps of this 8 step path, it focuses on what we call Raja Yoga, which is the yoga of consciousness. And so my path began to move me more and more in that direction. In 91, 92, I was given some information about ancient Egypt, which originally was known as Kemet, which means the land of the dark or burnt people. These ancient people, a lot of our sciences and arts come from that time, from that period, and from those people. Uh, um, Part of what I learned was something called Adi Ankh-Ka, which means breath is the life of the soul. And I was able to find that this was the origin of today's what we call yoga. Now, remember, we've got different cultures going on here. There's the Indian culture, and then there's the Kemetic or ancient Egyptian culture. When you study the culture of ancient Egypt, it was first. You see the connection. You see, like the 10 codes of morality in Hatha Yoga stem from the 42 laws of Ma'at, non-stealing, non-killing, etc., etc. And so I realized I had to switch my teaching to what I had learned, and that was that that it began in ancient Egypt. All right, so a couple of years later, a few years later, I was asked if I would put some oils together. Oh, let me go back a little bit. I'm teaching a class. Am now living at that time living in Santa Barbara. I'm teaching at UC Santa Barbara, and I got a message from the other side, from the ancestors, my spiritual guide, that they wanted me to concentrate on healing by focusing on the chakra centers. Well, this surprised me because I thought that's the work I had been doing all these 35 years, 40, almost 40 years. But a couple of years later, this person asked if I would put some oils together for it. I didn't think twice about it. It wasn't work that I was doing, and I could have said, "Why do you want me to do this? I don't do this." I just said, "Yes, sure, I'll do this." And the ancestors gave me 2 oils they wanted me to put together. One was called Egyptian musk. The other was called um, majmua. One was Indian and one was Egyptian. They gave me an idea of how much to combine. And when we would go places, people would go, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that?" But what really got my attention were the people. Uh, for example, one woman in Los Angeles who said she was feeling really under the weather. And when we came in, she got a hit on this scent and immediately was uplifted, immediately began to feel better. And I was getting that so much, I said, okay, something's going on here. And I did what I always do. I got quiet and I asked my spiritual guides, whom I call the ancestors, what is this? And they said, this is the work we want you to do. This will help to balance the chakra centers. And also, they channeled a set of affirmations so that when one applies the oil on the pulse points, smells the oil, it triggers the olfactory nerve, the sense of memory, and therefore there's a memory within our being that a part of our being that remembers the balance of the chakra center. And so they continued to channel these oils to me, and they came up with 7, which was the work for each asana. I'm sorry, each chakra, and the affirmation. And through the years, I have had incredible responses from people telling me how much these oils have helped them. I still get it, um, and it makes me feel good because I stopped teaching yoga asanas. Yeah, 40 years of that was plenty, and But here I could apply, could take the information I had gained all those 40 years when I was teaching classes, and I could take that and apply it to this new work using the essential oils, the combination of the essential oils to help balance the chakra centers.
Well, I want to say this about Het-Heru's essential oils because I have been using her essential oils for 15 years.
It's a long
So,
time.
um, you know, everyone knows me by uh, my special one, which is Me Too, Neater.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people that just literally, men and women, who like, oh, okay. Now, my other favorite is Imani. So, and
Mm-hmm.
this was your new one, Faith.
That's the yes, but I have to tell you about that one. That was
Please,
the last one that I channeled. I was living in Texas. Um, I preferred living in California, but I went to Texas for a personal reason. Didn't expect to be there as long as I was there. It was a family situation. Couldn't figure out how I was going to finally leave Texas and return to California. And apparently, my guides figured out that I was really unhappy about this whole thing. It was 5.5 years in there. I'm walking my little dog that I had at the time, and again, the ancestors speak to me, and they said, you've given up hope. And the remedy for that is faith. And we have taught you to live by faith and not by sight. The word imani is a Swahili word, which means faith. They told me they were going to channel the combination to me, which I did. They channeled the affirmation, which is what they do, and it too has become an extremely popular, and especially at this time. I have to, you like metanetter, which means the word of God and is for communication. But my two most popular scents, sacred love oil, which is for the heart chakra, and now Imani as well for faith.
Matter Natter.
Metanetter. Mm-hmm. I know,
Doing it
but
for 15 years, and I've been
yeah,
calling.
no.
Listen,
Listen, what we meant, not even the way we're pronouncing it is not because the ancient people did not use the E in their language. And
oh,
I actually, when I was going through a name change process, ceremony, and there was a scholar of the language stopped. She says, "When are you going to start pronouncing your name correctly?" And I said, "What is my name?" And the way she pronounced it, there was no way I was ever going to be. People have enough issues with Het-Heru, and to just think of how that would be pronounced without the E, be something like that. And that was so. Anyhow, we added the E. I'm not the only one. It's kind of general understanding. We add the E in order so it's easier for us to pronounce. But I'm used to working with languages that people are unfamiliar with because as a yoga teacher, I used a lot of Sanskrit.
we're gonna get there. I'm telling you, this is a, this is its whole education. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm here to do is I'm bringing you different perspectives on how to be spiritually great.
Okay.
You're the one, you, ladies and gentlemen, you're the ones who are going to have to decide what works for you. And so with Het-Heru, her perspective and the things that she does, being an intuitive, I am also, and so this is all new. You see, if I do believe that anyone can be if they're open, but I do believe that some of us have been separated to become teachers and givers of this wisdom, and so this is why we all these different perspectives for all of us is very important, but most of us, you know we're still looking, and so this is why I really wanted to bring Het-Heru here. And so, Het-Heru, let's talk about, okay, how do I activate now? Mine are okay. I think part of the experience, as you said when we talked in our early conversations, if you're interested in this, then
You're open.
you're
Yeah, because
open.
you would have no interest in this. This
Yes,
is, yeah.
yes,
But what you want to do is balance them.
right. Okay,
And
let's go in it. Let's go into that.
okay,
On let's start. You start talking about
okay,
chakras.
okay. So as I said before, when I started in the late '60s, the emphasis was more on a Piscean approach to doing these teachings, whether it was yoga or Buddhism or whatever. But now we're in the Aquarian age. In the Piscean age, it was about finding someone to follow. In the Aquarian age, it's about being that someone that you wanted to follow. And so the idea to repeat what Michael just said, if you're listening to this information, your chakras are open because otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this information. You would be listening to other stuff. So, however, the importance is your life reflecting, being reflected in balance, in harmony? And if it isn't, then things need to be done. And that's why these ancestors, these incredible teachers through thousands of years, they knew what we were going to be experiencing, and they created these different spiritual modalities in order to assist us while this process was going on. So yoga asanas, especially if you have a, if you have, I personally, I like to encourage people to find someone that is spiritually based. They're not religiously based, but spiritually based. Someone that is aware of the importance. My Again, my teacher Indra Devi, we weren't permitted to touch people. We had to learn how to voice what we wanted the students to do. We didn't use lawyers and contracts and things like that at that time. So um, it's really important to warm up your body. Meditation, that's necessary. And a lot of folks say, oh, I can't, especially maybe Geminis or Sagittarians, or because the mind, moves a lot. When folks tell you, well, you empty the mind, well,
Hey,
good
hey,
luck with
what are
that
you
one. That's
trying to
what
say
I
here?
know.
What
Well,
are you trying to say? You're
because
right.
I know I'm right, because Mercury rules your planet, and Mercury is fluid; it moves. But attempting to stop the mind from thinking is like attempting to take the wet out of water. That's not what you do. You learn to focus. And I have through the years shared what I learned. It's a process, a practice called Tratek, which is a simple thing. You take a candle and you look at the flame, and then for a while, and then you close your eyes to see if you can hold the flame. If not, you simply open your eyes, and it's going to take a while because for a long time, the mind was being shown as like a monkey, just scattering all over. But you can train it, and therefore you teach the mind to do what you want it to do, including quieting, so that you can sleep better, think better. You focus on the flame, you close your eyes, and then at some point, it's not going to happen overnight, but at some point you'll be able to close your eyes and see the flame. And then you watch the flame. And prayer is when you're speaking to the infinite. Meditation is when you're listening to what the infinite has to say. And that is what meditation is teaching you to do, is to get quiet. And in those processes alone, it will have a profound effect on balancing the chakra system. Same way with using the essential oils that were channeled to me. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. That's not to put down any of that for anyone that's doing this. However, in order for me to have been a vehicle for these oils to come through me, those are the things I had to give up. Not that, I stopped smoking when I was a kid, when I got into yoga, and I'm from California, so we we enjoy wine. Although I stopped that, and I just have never been a big drug person. '60s, but the pure the vehicle. And please understand, not everybody has to walk the same path I'm doing. However, balance. See, balance. Um, Don't do too much. Allow the vehicle to be as pure as possible, and consequently, it will have the effect on balancing the chakra system. Also, don't look for, I guess it's the same thing I'm saying now. Don't look for what makes you happy outside of yourself. It doesn't work. Lord knows I tried. It doesn't work. Find that happiness, that fulfillment within that also has a profound effect on balancing those chakras.
One of the things that changed me, because I think this was years ago for me. Now, we're this series that I'm doing is about wisdom for beginners, and we're just so grateful that Het-Heru is here
I love
to grace
beginners.
us, with this absolute wisdom that she has worked very hard, and the path is not easy. Period. Um, One of the things, again, this is about being an adult of my body. Okay,
Hmm.
this is part of what Het-Heru is here, is part of this whole process of balancing spirit and body. Now, one of the things that changed me years ago at Het-Heru was when I came to this total, okay, as a Gemini, let's just say, or just me, all
Okay.
right, what slowed my correctness, what brought me into correctness was a simple phrase that I learned one time.
Hmm.
You are what you think about.
It's true. It's
And
very true.
once I understood that, it was literally my whole framework changed. And I realized that I was responsible for every thought
Hmm.
and my emotions and what comes into my mind.
Right.
And so I'm just this whole process of of learning this is so fantastic. And I hadn't really thought about chakras
Hmm.
until I saw your website, and it reminded me of, like, oh wow, I heard about that in a long time. Now I don't
Hmm.
know. Wait a second. First, I got to ask you, how did you get into Los Angeles in '69? Girl, you look like you're in your 40s. What?
I turned 72 New Year's Day, so, but thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, her birthday is January 1st.
That's correct. That's correct. It,
Okay.
it really is attitude. When I was okay, so as you can tell, I have an interest in astrology. I see truth in astrology. I'm not a person that begins the day, well, what am I going to experience today? Because that I don't believe in. But according to astrology, each sign is ruled by a planet. Mine happens to be Saturn, and Saturn is like a stern parent that tells you, "Listen, if you haven't achieved that yet, you're moving too slow." And for me, it had the effect on deep depression. And I'm out teaching yoga classes, and my students are looking to me for guidance, and I was able to do that. But it's in my own personal world, I was miserable. And then I got one of these, and the reason being was that I kept looking for something outside of myself. That's why I'm sharing this with you, to bring some sense of peace and harmony, well-being to me. My physical being, my physical body was, thank God. I mean, it was holding tight for this. I guess it's the yoga asanas helped with that tremendously. The way I ate and all sorts of things like that. But it was one of those light bulb moments that which I was trying to be, I already am. And they showed that my waiting for something or someone outside of myself to make this all better was just a waste, that it was up to me to bring that well being, that sense of balance, that sense of joy. So, what that caused me to do was to study everything I possibly could in the realm of metaphysics. And that time in LA, we had some of the most incredible teachers that were just there in LA. Joseph Murphy is my favorite, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And I learned you were saying, Michael, I learned that my body, but that my life was reflecting my thinking and feeling, my daily thinking and feeling. And so one of the tools you too as well that I use that helps tremendously is the power of the word, the spoken word. If you look in history, you'll see all places in the Bible where um, I Jesus said, "Lazarus, come forth," and the stone. I'm not a Bible scholar, but I do recall some things that the stone moved and Lazarus was able to come out. And it's just we see through history how people have used the power of the word. Now, just like we can use the word in a positive way, we can use the word in the negative way. My friends, my dear friends with whom I go out to dance, because that's something I love doing, and they will say things like, "Oh my God, we're never going to get a parking space." Well, when I had my yoga studio, it was in we I was between Century City and Westwood, and my students would go into Westwood afterwards or before, and they would say the same thing. And I taught them, speak what you want, not what you don't want. Saying you're never going to get a parking space, that's going to be your experience. Instead, say, I accept the right and perfect parking space. It's the same thing with your health. Instead of, because I've been on planet Earth this time around, 72 years at this time, people who are my age want to say things like, "Oh, well, I'm such and such and such an age, and therefore I have to have arthritis, and I have to have this, and I have to have that. And I'm getting old." Hey, that doesn't work for me. I prefer to say what I want to experience. So every day I throw out an affirmation of the life I want to have in that day's time. When people are speaking that nonsense, I remember hearing a minister talking about organ recitals. Oh my, my this and oh my that. Speak differently. Speak what you want to experience. Tell your body, you're wonderful. I'm so grateful to you. You're moving really well, and if you're having any kind of physical challenges, you say, "I'm so grateful. My knees are better every day in every way. I'm getting better, better, and better."
I love it. You have to speak. You have to speak what you want.
That's
And if
right, netter, netter.
and I lived in LA too. Okay. By the way,
Yeah.
did you go to the Bodhi tree?
Oh yeah. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Used to live at the Bonnie Tree
Yeah.
practically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I lived in Westwood, Santa Monica.
Okay.
Yeah. We used to hang out at the Bodhi tree, and yeah, it was so much during those days, the '60s and the '70s was
Oh
like
yeah.
really an incredible time. I moved there in 1977
Okay.
when I was 20 years old, and I had 150 bucks in my pocket. Now you could do that back then, but I
Yeah,
would
that's
never
true.
tell you to
Oh
do
no.
that now, baby.
Oh no.
Okay,
Oh
I don't know
no.
if you can get a half a gallon of almond almond
No,
juice for
isn't that
that now.
something?
Okay,
Yeah, and then we had the health food restaurants too. Erewhon.
right.
Erewhon was like one of the major ones at that time.
The Good Earth, that was
Good Earth.
mine.
That was your. Well,
Yeah,
that was just if you lived in Westwood, yeah, we ate there all the time. So
yeah. I lived in Westwood. I loved
yeah,
living in Westwood.
yeah, it's fun.
It was such a great time. I mean, just back in them days, the celebrities, the stars, they just walked around normal. I
It's
mean,
true.
you
And they
mean,
came to my yoga classes.
ooh, yeah, yeah. I used to go to the Jane Fonda workout.
Okay,
Oh
okay,
yeah, I
yeah.
love me some Jane Fonda.
Was that her place or was that Richard Simon's place?
No, no,
It
that was
seemed
her
like
place. It was
it
called the
was her
Jane Fonda
place.
workout. Yeah,
Okay.
it was on Robertson.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah.
It was
Okay.
on Robertson. Now, just to let everyone know, we're going to have Het-Heru on here on a weekly basis here. We're so honored that she's going to be coming to us on Wednesdays here and just sharing all this great information. And I really want you all to know that this is an honor and a privilege to have her here. And I am
Thank you.
so honored that we just even began our discussion here, Het-Heru. We have so many more things we want to cover, but we're going to go ahead and end here right now, and we're going to
No
be
doubt.
talking a lot more with Het-Heru and all her experiences. So, um, again, I just want to give a quick prop to her. These are her essential oils, okay, and you can order them um, on her. She has her website, and it is
That's
hetheru.com.
that's correct.
Hetheru.com. And if you want to get a hold of her, you might have any questions, or if you want a session with her, she's very busy. But if you want to get a hold of her, it's info@hetheru.com, and check out her essential oils. We're going to be talking more about essential oils. We're going to be breaking down each one of these and how it's going to affect. But thank you so much,
Oh, my
Heru.
pleasure, Michael. I so enjoy this. I like the idea that each week we're going to focus on each chakra
Right.
to show how folks the effect and the power of it and what can be done to bring it into balance. So I
Okay.
like that. That's
All
good.
right. So today we talked about the basically the root chakra. Okay,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
below, right below the spine. Is that where kind of where
Well,
it
it's
is?
that the coccyx or the tailbone area.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Right. And so the reason why this is so important, ladies and gentlemen, is because your base is your body, a base of your body, your legs, your
Yeah.
hips, your knees, your feet. If you don't have those right, that's why it
Hmm.
starts with that. If
Yeah.
you don't have the bottom right, that's what's going to carry you every single day.
Yeah.
It's from the waist on down, and so
Yeah.
that's where we begin. We're beginning at the base, the
That's I like that.
base.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And we have just begun. We just scratched the surface. I literally could talk to you for 6 hours.
And
Uh, and so I can't say it enough. I want to thank you so much, Heteru. Please.
thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
we're going to see you next week. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Look forward to it.
Okay. Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
everyone. Okay.
Okay. Bye bye. Isn't that great? I mean, this is what this is part of this whole thing for me. This is my 226th show, and to have her here is such a fantastic thing as we go. I'm going into this next year. Now remember, this is the year of the tiger. This is the year of change. This is your time to be complete. Listen, we are supposed to be an adult of our spirit, an adult of our mind, an adult of our thought, an adult of our emotions, an adult of our actions, and an adult of our body, which is what we're talking about today. Being in control of your body, telling your body what you want to do so that you can be an adult of your love, so you can be an adult of your surroundings, your relationships, and the most important thing is your decisions. Because it's you who has to make the decision on whether or not you want to be the best you can be. And if you're listening to this show, this tells me that's what you want. So I'm sending out love, baby, all over the place. All right? And I'm saying to you, you're going to have to be your own secret agent.
Name? Bond. James Bond. Past, isn't it?
We'll see you next time on the Alpough Show, the human spirit experiment, where you can have the greatest experience.